Netflix may have started out as just an internet content distributor, but it's grown to become one of the entertainment industry's biggest success stories. With original programming including TV series like House of Cards, its shows are not only eagerly anticipated by fans, but are also winning critical acclaim as well as Emmy Awards. One of the company's most beloved series is a throwback to 80s pop culture, and it's back for a second season.
Hey, my food map! Whoa, do you guys realize what we could do?
30 years ago, Hollywood discovered a cash cow in mystery movies with all teenage casts. These range from swashbuckling adventure to sci-fi and comedy horror.
They call themselves the Goonies.
The trend caused a dramatic shift among movie studios, with them eventually trading their adult customers for kids.
Chunk, I hope that was your stomach. No. That's it.
Now, filmmakers who grew up on such a diet share their love of the decade with a new generation. Stranger Things is about pupils at junior high school banding together to solve supernatural mysteries. The series incorporates every 80s pop culture milestone.
The midnight hour is close at hand.
According to show newcomer Paul Reisner, audiences love its nostalgic quality.
Terrorize your neighborhood. Whosoever shall be found.
Sometimes I feel like I still see her.
The shots and the feel of it, and the kids on bicycles, you know, just like you see that, it's like, I'm not even sure what I'm remembering. It just feels like a little conglomeration of everything great, and every Goonies and Poltergeist and Stand By Me and E.T., it's like it's in there, and you don't even know what it is you're responding to, but, you know, we just showed the trailer here, and people went crazy.
Must stand and face the hounds of hell and rot inside.
Actor David Harbour says with Stranger Things, he wants to bring back the special 80s flavour that he tasted back in his youth.
Whatever's happening is spreading from this place.
What does it want? Not me. Everyone else.
That Amblin Entertainment stuff that I grew up with in the 80s, like E.T., and then of course, like for me, it was Raiders of the Lost Ark, like that Indiana Jones stuff when I was a kid. And all those guys sort of were what I viewed a man to be. I mean, and it's sort of, you know, movies really are a mythos in our society, like with the ancient Greeks, they had their myths, and we have our myths in movies, and those guys from the 80s, like Harrison Ford or Gene Hackman or Nick Nolte or Jack Nicholson, like those are the guys that taught me what it was to be a man for good and for bad. And so, you know, I love that, and I want to bring a little bit more of that back to our society.
Although the second season has only just been released, fan response has been so overwhelming, Netflix has hinted the production of a third season is already underway.
Alican Pamir is a producer at TRT World and a connoisseur of all things pop culture. He also happens to have a degree in film studies and has seen at least 2,000 films and TV shows in his life. Alican, let's start talking about Stranger Things. It's a production set in the 1980s of a group of kids and scary gremlins. How did it turn out to be so popular?
Well, the short answer to your question would be that the show has an interesting set of characters, a talented cast, and some pretty good writing. But to set the record straight on Stranger Things, we have to travel back in time. One of the things that was most influential on the show was this production company called Amblin. And in the 1980s, they changed the movie-going experience dramatically by replacing the adult audience with kids. Now, how they did this was basically the directors associated with Amblin were people who grew up watching movies that crossed genres. So when they became filmmakers themselves, they just made their own versions of them, but with a cast full of kids, basically. So you would have movies like, you know, Goonies, Gremlins, or E.T., which would feature a cast of outsider kids banding together to fight a evil force of nature. With Stranger Things, from the plot line to the story to the cinematography, and there's certain even lineups of shots that are directly lifted from Amblin Productions, basically. So yeah.
1980s films and productions based on the 1980s seem to be the new thing. Do you think that we're going to see more of this genre come out?
Yes, and it's already happening. I mean, this year's biggest hit, It, wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for the success of Stranger Things, because it had the similar storyline. And the thing is, that project has been in development hell for so long, and only after recruiting one of the cast members of Stranger Things, they were able to get a green light and, you know, hit the theaters. But the thing is, I mean, that is Hollywood for you. You know, once they find a formula that works, they just use it again and again and again. I mean, the thing is, I also have a background in film academia, and when I was conducting research, I would often come across film journalists from the 1930s and 40s. And critics even then were complaining about how, you know, Hollywood was repeating itself and how it was always about sequels.
Well, let's talk about Netflix now, which produces Stranger Things.
Yes.
It seems like they're also getting criticized for not bringing new trends in the entertainment business. What do you think its current situation is right now?
I mean, well, the thing is, Netflix started out as this content distributor, which, you know, used to place ads on comic book podcasts and whatnot. And the thing is, now they are producing their own original content. They first started with this prestige production, House of Cards, and they had a A-level Hollywood director, David Fincher, and they had a star cast, and that worked. With Stranger Things, I think they expanded, you know, as a company. But the thing is, they're also trying to score points by deconstructing the opposition's game, if that makes any sense. They're basically now releasing movies online on the same day as they're opening in theaters. So this puts the studios in a tight spot. Now they have to catch up with Netflix, and they're now thinking of, you know, trying similar scheduling so that they can have their own online outlets to beat Netflix to the punch, basically. So I think at the moment, Netflix is kind of like the rebel of the entertainment industry, but I think we'll have to wait to see if they can really get ahead of the old guard studios. I mean, only time will tell, so.
Well, they're going to have to catch up to Netflix. Thank you so much for that review, Alican. It was a pleasure.
My pleasure, thank you.